I'm here with Tina from Do DC with Kids, and in this video we're going to be telling you about the best tips for when you visit the National Zoo. Hello, welcome to Trip Hacks DC. My name is Rob.
And I'm Tina from DoDCWithKids.com.
And in this video we're going to be telling you about our favorite tips for when you visit the National Zoo. If you're coming to Washington DC and you're looking for the best tips, tricks, and hacks for exploring the city, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon so that you don't miss anything. And head over to Tina's website, Do DC with Kids, afterwards and sign up for her newsletter so that you can keep up with what's going on with kids in DC. If you live in DC or have been to the National Zoo before, leave a comment on this video and let us know what your favorite tips or hacks for the zoo are. Otherwise, let's get started. One of the best things about visiting the National Zoo is that unlike other zoos in the United States, ours is completely free and open to the public. The first set of tips that we have is about getting to the National Zoo. It's really recommended that you don't try to drive or park at the zoo. Regular parking right now costs $20 per visit, but Tina does have a hack if you do live nearby.
If you want to become a member of the National Zoo, and that's called FONS, Friends of the National Zoo, you'll get free parking at every visit. It doesn't guarantee you a spot, but you'll have a free spot should one be available.
And that's the reason why you probably shouldn't drive, right? Because even if you are a FONS member, if you show up too late and the parking lot's full, there's nowhere for you to go. So a much better option for getting to the zoo is to take the Metro's Red Line.
Yes, and a hack for that is to always walk downhill. So if you get off at the Red Line stop for Cleveland Park, you'll walk downhill to get to the zoo. And when you leave the zoo, you'll again walk downhill to get to the Woodley Park stop.
That's a really good one because I often see families going from the Woodley Park station to the zoo entrance and they're pushing their strollers uphill and it just looks like a lot more work. As if they had gotten off at the Cleveland Park stop, they'd just be cruising downhill with their strollers. So that's a great hack. So let's move into our second set of tips, which is about getting around once you're at the zoo. I personally recommend that you wear the most comfortable pair of shoes that you own.
Definitely leave your fashion sandals at home.
And the reason is because people don't quite appreciate this, but the zoo is actually built on a big hill.
A very steep hill.
So when you're walking around in the zoo to get from exhibit to exhibit, you're actually walking up and downhill the entire time.
Yes, and a hack for that is the zoo actually runs a shuttle throughout the day. So if you're at one of those points on the hill and you're just too tired, you still have to walk home, you still have to deal with the metro, I would just wait at one of those shuttle bus stops and let a bus drive you back to the top of the hill.
And that's completely free, right?
Completely free.
Yeah, so another great thing about the zoo is that even once you're inside, things are still completely free. So of course, if you're visiting with a small child or children, you probably are going to have a stroller with you.
Yeah.
And so can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to push a stroller around and which things you're allowed to bring it into and to not?
Right, so when you have a stroller at the National Zoo, it makes things super easy. You can pack everything you need. But I will say there are exhibits that encourage you to leave your stroller outside. So I would recommend you have another small bag with all of your valuable items that you just take with you as you leave your stroller and diaper bag behind.
Okay, so when you're visiting the zoo, you're going to get hungry. So let's talk a little bit about the best and the worst places to eat.
The best places to eat are actually not at the zoo unless you bring your own food. The zoo food is overpriced, you're going to wait in line, it's expensive, and the food is not very good, and there are not a lot of options. If you're organized, you can bring your own lunch, or I'd recommend you eat at Nando's, which is my personal favorite. And you have a personal favorite?
My personal favorite is called Duke's Counter. It's located right across the street on Connecticut Avenue from the front gate of the National Zoo. And just a good place for lunch before you go or after you visit. So in my best places to eat in Washington, D.C. video, I talked about eater maps a little bit, and there's also one for the National Zoo. They have about 10 restaurants that are located on Connecticut Avenue between the Woodley Park and the Cleveland Park metro stations. So because you're getting off at Cleveland Park and getting back on at Woodley Park, you'll definitely find a place that's suitable for your family when you visit. So our next set of tips are about when is the best time to go visit the zoo. So unlike the Smithsonian museums that are located on the National Mall, which open at 10 a.m., the zoo is actually open early. The grounds open at 8 a.m. and the exhibits open at 9 a.m. Now, one of the great things about getting there early is that it's usually cooler in the morning, and for that same reason, the animals tend to be a little bit more active in the morning hours than they are in the afternoon.
If you want to see animals, I definitely recommend going at dawn or at dusk, because midday it's not only hot, but the animals are taking their nap. One good thing about visiting the zoo during the summer, though, is there are misters throughout the zoo that are super fun for kids to run through. And there's also a splash pad that a lot of people miss. It's by the sea lion exhibit, which is also by another really great exhibit that people tend to overlook, and that's the Amazon room.
So another really cool thing about the zoo is that they do special events throughout the year. Probably the best known one is Zoo Lights, which takes place every year between about Thanksgiving and January 1st.
Zoo Lights is super cool because it gives you a chance to see the zoo at night, and it's all lit up, it's beautiful, it's also very cold, so I'd recommend bringing hand warmers and maybe a thermos of cocoa.
And we do have 4 seasons here, so when you come in the winter, it's going to be really cold. So if you check out Zoo Lights, it's going to be at night and it's going to be pretty cold, so definitely dress for it.
And they also have events throughout the year that are super cool and you don't want to miss. They have Breakfast at the Zoo in September, which you can find by Googling Breakfast at the National Zoo. And they also have Boo at the Zoo, which we went to last year, and you can trick or treat at the National Zoo, and it's definitely an experience you're not going to want to miss.
And if you're in DC when they're having any of these special events, you want to check them out because they don't happen all the time. And we're going to leave links in the description to these events so that you can make sure that when you visit that you can know what's going on. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, you can subscribe to this channel by clicking on the Trip Hacks DC logo, which is popping up right now at the bottom of the screen.
And you can find me, Tina, from DoDCWithKids.com at that website. I'm also on Instagram as DC with Kid, and I'm on Facebook as DC with Kid.
And you should definitely subscribe to Tina's newsletter so that you can keep up with all of the things that are happening in DC year-round when you visit with your family.
Thanks.
Enjoy your trip.